All right. I think we've rambled a decent amount. I'll find a fun place to cut this off that doesn't reveal too many secrets into our personal lives.
Yeah, nobody has to know that I like the Grammarly girl.
But they will.
Yeah. Cuz the amount of times that like there have been like a fun like 5 to 10 minute conversation before actually starting the podcast, like I'm thinking of making it into like a bonus content thing,
Ooh, yeah.
like
I
just
like.
like every now and again posting like the little like bonus rambles that happened before the podcast. Because like the one time that Tim Meredith was on here, Maddie and I ended up talking to him for like a half an hour before we actually got to any questions, and it was super funny stuff. I was like, man, I feel so bad we have to cut this. So keep an eye out for that, folks. But anyway,
Huh?
here we are, friends. Hydrate real quick before we begin. Were you laughing at me, my awkward pause, or were you laughing at one of the things?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Here we are.
Here we are, says nothing.
I thought there was going to be a follow-up, but your follow-up was drinking water.
Yeah. Oh, and my camera's. Hold on, let me just adjust
Great.
this real quick. There we go.
It's just creating a spooky effect.
It is creating a spooky effect because it is spooky season.
Mhm.
Hold on.
And still doing? It's either occasionally still doing it, or there's something wrong with my brain.
No,
No, I had to adjust the actual like part that plugs into my computer, not the part that plugs into my camera. There we go. There we go. Fixed her.
We're mutually exclusive.
All right. So one of the things we're starting with today is I think this is like the quickest we've ever managed to get on to like have something to say about like a thing that's happening on the internet, because usually because of the like 1 week delay we have in releasing, it's usually like 2 weeks after the thing has died at minimum. But we hopped on this one really quick, and I have to say thank you to Zach for bringing this up. We're discussing a list of red flags that somebody posted on Twitter. So
Are we going to talk about all of these, or are we just selecting the ones that speak to
I
us
think
the
we
most?
can go through all of them. This is from the account at Nazo Be Tweeting, which I will also have a link to in the description on all platforms for this. So this person has made a list of red flags, which anyone who's on Twitter or is on any other social media that contains a bunch of screenshots from Twitter is probably aware of the "this is a red flag" sort of meme that's been going around. But let's discuss this list.
I really did not know that was going to blow up. I sent that to you, and then like through all the like red flag.
Yeah, we really hopped on this one like perfectly. Yeah. I'm very proud of us for that. So again, thank you, Zach. But their first red flag is that the person is a Sagittarius or an Aquarius. I don't think so, just because I don't like. I just check I check my horoscope for fun, and like that's it.
When Mercury is in retrograde.
I know I'm a Libra, and that is the extent of my knowledge of horoscopes.
See, and if I was a person who knew horoscopes, I'd probably be saying something like, "Oh my god, yeah, you are such a Libra," but I'm not all that into I know how Aries are, because I'm an Aries, which I guess if you know astrology, like, isn't shocking. And I know how Scorpios are because I am surrounded by Scorpios.
I am very much a Libra because, I mean, the pictorial representation, whatever you call it, the mascot, is a set of scales, because Libras are supposed to be really indecisive and like overweigh everything.
Okay. Here's my thing about astrology. I don't think that there's nothing to it. If that makes sense. Like,
yeah. It's like being agnostic about it.
A lot of the Aries like traits I do seem to fit into, and I have noticed some sort of like commonalities when I like, you know, if it like comes up in conversation, someone's like, "Oh, I'm also an Aries. I do X, Y, and Z that's like supposed to be attributed to that." I'm like, I noticed some commonalities, but again, I don't put too much stock into it. It's more of just a fun little thing for me.
Yeah.
But it is funny that you say that Libras are supposed to be indecisive, because you like, that's accurate.
I'm physically incapable of making decisions. There's something in my brain, like a mechanism that's
And like I
missing.
know that like Aries are supposed to be like adventurous and all that stuff, but also like really stubborn. I'm like, that's me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
I
but
have
yeah,
no
no.
idea what Virgos are supposed to be, but
I'm sure someone will tell us.
yeah.
But as for like knowing someone's sign and immediately being like, oh no, can't do that. No. Like that's not a red flag for me.
Yeah, no. I think we're in agreement on that one.
What do we think about following Barstool?
Yup.
Yeah.
That's like neon red.
Yes. But the college ones are like the Geneseo Barstool Instagram account specifically is funny just because I know all the places that people are like taking these videos where some frat guy like smashes a table.
So like your local bar stool is okay.
Yeah.
In the same way your local Fox channel might be real news, but like Fox.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So if it's Barstool for their like specific college, like there's ones for a lot of the SUNY schools, and I'm assuming private schools as well. I just don't know.
Yeah,
So
but
that's
even
okay.
that,
But following Barstool at large and having like, I've seen like the like bumper stickers that are like the stool. No, that I don't trust. So I will agree there. I will say that is a red flag.
But even for individual schools, it depends on the school because I was introduced to it at Ohio State. It's not great. Like I just associate it. It's not a site I've really spent time on, but I associate it with being kind of bro-y,
Yeah.
and like very all the things you would associate with the stereotype of a frat boy. Like that's basically what it is.
It is pretty bro-y, but the videos on the Geneseo Barstool account are funny. At
I
least
know.
in my opinion. And again, that's probably because I have the fun insider knowledge of being like, I was there that one time. I've been to parties at that house. I know where that's happening.
But still, imagine you're like on Tinder or something like that, and there's somebody who's like really into Barstool.
Yeah, that is a red flag. Following your local, like following your college's account is one thing, being really into it is another, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, am I defending myself a little because I follow the SUNY Geneseo Barstool account? Yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't tell people that. They'll think it's a red flag for you.
Oops.
All good.
Next on the list, plays golf.
I mean, see, it needs more context.
Here's my thing.
Like,
Golf is a very like kind of like it feels like a very kind of Republican like conservative sport to me, but my dad and all his friends play golf and they are like staunch like Democrats, liberals, you know, not like extreme like leftists or whatever, but like, you know, they're all about people having rights and such. So I don't know if I necessarily have the kind of like association that somebody who only knows golf as like a rich white conservative sport would have, because I just see golf, I'm like, and I think of Joe Kelly. I think of Joe Kelly watching the Masters.
Here's my take on it.
Do
If
tell.
all I know about somebody is that they play golf, that's not enough to go on. If I'm getting vibes from somebody one way or another, golf only intensifies those vibes. And if I'm getting
Yes.
bad vibes and then I find out they play golf, it's gonna hurt. But if they just seem like a positive person who enjoys golf and then they're like, oh yeah, and one of my hobbies is golf, sure.
Okay.
I'm not gonna.
It doesn't bother me at all. Like I'm anybody who plays any sort of sport, like great, wonderful.
Mhm.
That is I don't care what it is, I don't care what the stereotypes of it are. So to me it has nothing to do with their personality.
Yeah, I would say if they're already giving me like kind of like majorly conservative vibes and then I find out they play golf, I'm gonna be like, oh, of course. And then that's a red flag for me. But again, like if you said like they're a chill person, they're like, yeah, and also I play golf with my friends. It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Because again, I don't have the like automatic negative association that some might have with the sport.
Well, I think it's just like a somewhat wealthy sport in general. I mean, a set of clubs is not cheap. And so when you think of it, you think of like it's not like soccer where you like, well, okay, you need cleats, but like, where you just buy the ball for the sport and then you're good to go,
Yeah,
right?
like, and even like
That's
soccer, like, you don't necessarily have to be like super professional. Like, even like a
no,
kind of craps, like, for soccer, you can literally just buy a ball and then you go out in your sneakers.
yeah,
Like, you don't need cleats, but like golf, even if you are getting a cheap set of clubs, that's still a
yeah.
decent amount of money to be dropping.
It it's like skiing,
Yeah.
like also not a cheap sport, but
Oh yeah, no. I know that golf clubs aren't cheap. The amount of times that my parents have defaulted to like getting each other like a nice new golf club as like a Christmas, birthday, anniversary present because they're both like big into golf. I know firsthand those things are expensive.
mm,
All right, shall we move on? Next red flag, potential red flag. Drinks IPAs.
I drink IPAs.
So I don't think drinking IPAs is a red flag. Endlessly talking about it and
That's the
insisting
red
that they're
flag.
better
And
than every other beer.
Pilsners.
I think the fact that it's on this list is like, because like you wouldn't necessarily notice if someone wasn't the kind of person to like drink IPAs and talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, you might not notice, like, if, you're hanging out at someone's, like, you're hanging out at a party where you meet someone, you might not notice what they, like, grab out of the cooler.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Being really snobby about drinking IPAs.
Yeah.
I think being snobby about like any alcohol in general.
Yeah, any kind
Right.
of gatekeepy
Yeah.
BS. I'm not here for
Yeah.
that.
I think there's this thing with IPAs sometimes where people act like they're superior because they like them. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, you're drinking all this stuff. Oh, you don't really know beer because you don't drink IPAs. Like,
But also,
you're not better because you drink a liquid.
Yeah.
ironic that you say that, but you make fun of me for still drinking shitty college beer.
Because that's not beer, that's flavored water.
Oh, so you can gatekeep me.
You're allowed to keep your friends.
Oh, god damn it.
Well, there's that. And also, to be fair, I've never made fun of you. I've just given you funny looks when you suggest that we get that kind of beer.
Yeah, because we're gonna shotgun it, is the point. The point is not that it tastes good.
You're suggesting that I drink it, which is not, that's why you get the looks.
Whatever.
Yeah,
Would we like to
it's
move
not
on, or
drinking
would
it.
we like to get further into that?
I think we seem to be pretty agreed on this as well, that it's not the drinking of the IPAs, it's the superiority and the gatekeeping.
Yeah, it's the way you go about it. Has Twitter.
Pretty self-incriminating.
Yeah, I mean, every single one of us here has a Twitter, and
For
I
a
plug
guy
them
named
in the end
Nazo
credits
Beat.
every week.
Yeah, I don't get the issue.
Yeah.
But
And also, the person who made this list posted it on Twitter.
His
Yeah.
handle is literally Nazo be tweeting.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, I mean, like, I kind of get it. I enjoy the way that people are like, oh, Twitter is like where I can be like my like trash gremlin self on social media as opposed to like my like idealized Instagram self. So, like, I do get being like, it's what was one of the like Marx Brothers or whatever that was like, any club that would let me in isn't a club that I want to be a part of.
Yeah.
So I can get it in that sort of, self-deprecating humor type sense. But, like, as for an actual red flag, nah.
yeah,
I got a Twitter.
you're kind of almost eliminating a large portion of people with that.
Yeah. I don't think I know anybody like any millennial who doesn't have a Twitter account.
Yeah, actually, I don't know.
Off my head, I can't think of anybody who is like a millennial, which is a millennial is what, 86 or something?
Approximately.
Yeah.
Technically, I'm a millennial.
Okay.
I was born in '85.
Okay. Yeah, I know it's somewhere around there.
Yeah. So I
But
think it's like '83 or '4 or something like that.
okay. But I don't know anybody who's.
Well, I mean, Sasha doesn't have a Twitter, but Sasha barely has anything.
There are some people who just aren't like into social media, don't really care about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
but
more
I feel
power to them, honestly.
Hmm?
And more power to them, honestly.
Oh, yeah. But I am, again, trash gremlin. Alright.
I don't think
Plays Call of Duty. Yes.
I feel really judgy, but kinda, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't feel like it should be a red flag, but it definitely kind of is.
Yeah.
But I also think that that's like a watered down version of golf where like context is helpful, but unlike golf, I will go into it making assumptions.
Yeah. Just because,
like if you tell me you play Call of Duty and then like the the rest of the conversation proves me wrong, great.
Yeah.
But like if that's all I like, if all I know about you is you play golf, I don't care. If all I know about you is you play Call of Duty.
So golf is like innocent until proven guilty, and they
Call of Duty is guilty until proven innocent. Just 'cause I've never met a chill person that plays Call of Duty.
Who's above the age of 12.
Exactly. And like if it is just something you like do with your buds on the weekend as like, kind of like, just a fun like kind of cooperative game. But I've never actually seen a person play it like that.
Yeah.
Like they're all just always screaming at each other.
just like consumed playing so many hours
And I mean,
Yeah.
I can't say anything against like people who play a shit ton of video games because I play a shit ton of video games. It's just that Call of Duty specifically, such a like toxic community around it. So as soon as like again, guilty until proven innocent as soon as someone says that. Because I'm sure there are games I play where it feel or like games I play, movies I watch where it's like a kind of guilty until proven innocent thing. Because like I'll say it, I like Rick and Morty.
I didn't realize that it'd be well.
But I know that there are some very toxic fandom implications that come with that in this day and age.
I have never seen an episode of Rick and Morty before.
It is a pretty good show. I enjoy it. I just think there's a very large community of people who see their very deeply flawed main character as like, he's so cool, I want to be just like him. I'm like, that's not the point. The point of the show is not that Rick is cool.
See, this is why I just don't pay attention to other people. Like, I don't pay attention to the fandom stuff, what people say about it. It makes me enjoy it more because I don't have to worry about their opinions messing with mine.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I have intruded on that bubble. But since I was stating in a public forum that I like Rick and Morty, just wanted to put that out there.
All I know is that it has math jokes.
Yeah, there's some math jokes.
No.
Which are fun if you like math, but then you get people, like, unironically posting, to be fair, you have to have a pretty high IQ to enjoy Rick and Morty. I'm like, shut up.
Oh, I hate those people.
It's a show with a character called Mr. Poopy Butthole. Calm down.
Anybody who says that, it's like, shut up, turn off your computer, and drink your IPA, and leave everybody else alone, because that's the person.
That's the person. And you know what? They probably play Call of Duty, too.
They probably do.
This is, if you check off every single one of these things, you have found the worst guy.
Yeah.
Like, if you go through every single person until everything on this list is checked off, that is the worst dude.
Yeah, although I could definitely add things to this, but...
Oh, we all could, but that can be a whole nother question/episode, potentially.
There's definitely a couple on here that I would put on my personal list, like, immediately run away.
Is it the next one? Doesn't like cats?
That's partially.
Yeah.
I judge people very heavily based on how they treat animals.
Oh yeah, same.
Mood.
And honestly, like, I am slightly, like, in retrospect, I am, like, the tiniest bit vaguely embarrassed that I used to tell you, Brooks, all the time that I didn't like cats, because I've met your cats and they're absolutely lovely, and your cats have shown me that, one, I was a small child who didn't really know how to interact with a cat, and two, most of the cats I have known in my life were just straight up jerks that were not reflective of cats as a whole.
I'll do it. I think the other thing is people don't like that cats, unlike most animals, have preferences.
Mm-hmm.
Like dogs are much more open and will love, most people, but cats, it's like they have a personality and they're gonna run you through that filter and they might just not vibe with you.
Yeah.
You gotta earn their affection.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Which I understand I understand that being something that someone isn't necessarily looking for in a pet. Like, if someone just wants, like, all the affection all the time, like, I know it's different, like, it is actually different, but I compare, like, dogs and cats to, like, wanting, like, a roommate versus, like, a friend in some cases. Like, because cats, like, you can leave them for a weekend, they're fine going off and doing their own thing, like, in most cases, but then a lot of the time, dogs are just, like, following your every move, like, I'm right here, hi.
With cats, there's a wider range.
Yeah, because I know there are cats that are just like, attention now, please.
Yeah. I mean, I think most dogs are pretty, like, attention all the time, but with cats, you get a broad spectrum of, like, I want to be with you at all times, never leave me, to...
We can be in the same room.
Yeah. Don't even look at me. That's not cool. Yeah. So,
I read before, like when I was still researching huskies, that I read that like male huskies were somewhat needy and female huskies were very much like independent, and that's not true. Like even a little bit. I was like, but no, cats. And I think the only exception if you don't like cats is if you're not an animal person in general. If and
Yeah.
and that doesn't mean that like you dislike animals, just don't like being around them. Because like there's things that I don't like that I don't like doing that I also don't intrinsically hate. I think there's a distinction, but
Yeah.
yeah, but like if somebody said that, like, oh, I don't hate them, I'm just not an animal person, that's a red flag for me.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's also a problem for me, but, like, that's not something that's gonna... Like, that's not something I'd look for in, like, I am thinking about this list in terms of, like, a potential partner, but, like, that's not something that's gonna make me, like, not be friends with somebody. If they're like, yeah, I'm just not really an animal person, but they're, like, fine hanging out at my house that has an animal from time to time. Okay.
Yeah. But I don't think you'd want to be in any sort of, like, committed relationship with a person who's like, yeah, I don't really care for him. It's like, well, good thing I got a few, Like,
yeah, that's like, it's like a, it's like a filter. Gets rid of them immediately.
And then the other side of it's true as well, that, like, if people, like, come to my home and they're, like, so excited to see my cats and they just want to pet them and, like, talk to them and they're just being so nice, like, that's immediately just like, I love you.
yeah.
You are a wonderful human.
Yes, wonderful. It is always a good thing. Yeah, someone always gains points when I say that I have a snake, and they're not like, "Oh, ew," or like, "Is it like poisonous?" I'm like, and they're just like, "Oh, tell me." That's always a way to gain points in my book.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, so definitely, not liking cats is a red flag. Not liking animals in general, I feel like, and especially if you get them around your pets and then they're not very nice to them, or just kind of like,
Nah. Yeah, not a fan.
Okay.
Moving on. Yeah. Thinks Kanye is a genius.
Yeah.
Currently, yes.
Yeah.
I think some arguments can be made for, like, the albums that, like, put him on the map. But currently, that is a major red flag.
Yeah, it depends on if they're talking artistically or just, like, personally.
Yeah, personally, red flag under all circumstances. Artistically,
there's some room for
movement there. Like, as much as I have a lot of beef with like Kanye as a human being / public figure, like there's definitely some albums that are very, very much worth listening to. So
I won't agree with that. I think that's fair. Like, that's a necessary qualification.
Yeah.
Which one we're talking
But
about.
yeah, no. Like, as a blanket statement, thinks Kanye is a genius, I'm gonna say yes, red flag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another one of those things that it's kind of like guilty until proven innocent. At least to some degree.
I just think about it.
Like, if you're talking about music and it comes up and they're like, yeah, I think, like, I really like Kanye, but if they just bring it up, like, out of nowhere, then I'd be a little concerned.
You're on a first date.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden and you're like, get a little wary.
That's when you start asking some qualifying questions.
Yeah, that's fair.
See, I'm imagining these like you're on like a first or second date kind of, or
yeah,
like
I think that's a very good way to think about this. Listens to Drake. No,
I don't care.
I feel like I don't really love Drake all that much, but like, he's got some bangers. I'm not gonna be like, oh, you have some Drake on your playlist.
He's also not a toxic person like Kanye, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna like make any statements like, oh, Drake is like unproblematic king or whatever, because I'm sure he's not. I'm sure he's been active long enough that I'm sure there has to have been some controversy at some point. I don't really follow all that much, but he's got some bangers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know much about like his personal life.
Nor do
I. But I have no issue with it. Someone said that to me on a first day, I'd be like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
He's Canadian. So that automatically bumps you up a little bit. Just as a person, your baseline.
This one, I'm not a Republican, I'm a libertarian. Major red flag.
Yeah, just a little.
Especially if they phrase it that way. Like, starting with a qualifier of, like, you know, hedging.
Any kind of, like, I'm socially liberal but fiscally conservative. No.
Oh,
yeah.
Commit one way or the other, and then we'll talk.
Just recently, I, like, symbolically swiped left so hard on somebody who had that on a profile. I was like, nope! Out of here!
As you should. Yeah, no, I spent 5 years of my life with a centrist, and I'm never doing that again.
Oh, wait. Yeah, no. Like, moderate is one thing. Centrists are, like they're not the same.
Yeah.
There is a world of difference between a moderate and a centrist. Like, I was just reading about this. If you are a moderate, that is an ideology.
Yeah.
Being a centrist is an identity. Being a moderate is like, I'm for the ACA, but not healthcare for all. And it's like, cool, we can have a policy discussion. Centrists just like place themselves in the middle of wherever the spectrum is.
Yeah, and if the spectrum is extreme right to just right of center,
yeah, right,
we have a problem. So, yeah. Massive red flag. Never doing that again.
With this phrase, I don't know that I've ever heard anybody say this, and it just didn't go poorly after that.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
yeah,
any kind of like, oh, I'm like socially liberal, but like economically conservative. Like, as if the two aren't linked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So... yeah, no. Yeah. Automatic red flag. Like, that's honestly an automatic, like, swipe left for me. That's not even, like, a red flag. Because, like, I think a person having one or two, like, traits you're not nuts about, like, you're gonna find that with every person. But, like, that's an automatic swipe left.
Deal breaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that there's anything necessarily wrong about being libertarian. It's just that when people use that phrase, it tends to be associated with just like...
Yeah.
I don't know. I personally have...
I tuned down what I really want to say.
a bit of beef with the libertarian ideology just because of the way that it like it sounds nice, like, you know, not having anyone involved in your business, but it's all hinges on the idea that you're never going to need help from anyone ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just not about that. But again, me personally, and I'm not, and obviously not saying that like every libertarian is a bad human being, because that's just not true.
Yeah. That's what I said. It's not necessarily bad that they are libertarian. It's that phrase, you know, generally doesn't end well.
Yeah. And of course, Zach, you're our politics expert. Feel free to correct me if I'm like generalizing incorrectly.
No, I think that's fair. I think that there is, like, there is a consistency to the ideology, right? Hands off my social life and hands off of my markets.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you're right. When you get a little bit beneath the surface, like the two are inextricably
linked.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's my thing. It does sound nice to be like hands off my social life, hands off my market, but also like.
But then
when there's no help if you need it, which is a thing that I'm not about.
Well, it's like, okay, but then if your market says I'm not going to instigate people, now you've got a problem because now they're connected and like you can't reconcile.
Yeah, no. All right. Moving right along. Addicted to gambling / sports betting.
In most cases, yeah.
I would say in most. I feel like they're using the term addicted a little bit loosely here.
Yeah.
Just because, like.
I think if you're gonna go to like the racetrack in Saratoga, which I have my own problems with how they treat their horses, but just as a person, if you're gonna go there and place a $20 bet once a weekend, I don't care.
Yeah, like, no, like whenever I go to the track, like $3 on a race, it's fun.
Right. Yeah. But
or like, you know, if you're in Vegas and you play the slots a couple times.
Sure. Right. But like that's the trick is like when you go into a casino, you bring cash, not a credit card, and then you spend it, and that you're not aiming to make money, you're just having fun with it. That's entertainment money.
Mm-hmm.
It's when you bring your card in and then you don't leave for a long time.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, like again, like an office like you know, Super Bowl pool is one thing.
Yeah.
But like someone who's like always like on any kind of like fantasy sports app, like constantly betting, like yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, but see, even if they're using the word addicted loosely to not mean like a clinical addiction,
yeah,
I think there is an indication here though that it is more than just like a bet here or there.
Yeah, no, and like that's definitely like that is definitely a red flag.
Yeah.
So like in that sense, yes, red flag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice to see we're all in agreement.
I feel like we've agreed in pretty much all of these.
Yeah, for the most part.
This next one is definitely on my list.
Calls his ex crazy. Yes.
I want to... Yeah, okay, just based on this, I 100% agree. I would like to make some clarifications. If you have like 5 exes and
they're all and also this isn't necessarily a thing that only applies to like if you're looking like any person that's like saying, oh, every single one of my exes is crazy, that's a problem.
Right. No, I agree. Like if you're saying that most or all people you've ever dated are crazy, that's a problem. If you've dated 5 people and you say one of them is crazy, that's entirely possible.
Yeah, that's possible.
Like every group has outliers, but like when everybody you've dated is crazy, that sounds more like a you problem.
Yeah, that's definitely more of a you problem.
Yeah.
And also, if it's something that a person brings up on like the first or second date.
Yes. Well, then, yeah, absolutely.
That's very much a red flag. Like if it comes up when you're like, you know, like in a relationship with someone and they like talk about like, oh yeah, like this actual like insane, like this insane thing happened to me. Like that's one thing.
But if they're bringing up on the first date, they are clearly trying to buy themselves insurance for the remainder of however long this goes. So that anything they might do, it's like, it's not on me.
feel like that particular word really irks me because of the things that have been described as crazy, like having emotions.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the word that some
Standard.
men will use to be like dismissive.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, well, she wanted things. Like,
Yeah.
you could be there. She was too needy. And it's just like a blanket term they use for when a woman, like, was acting normally, but in a way that didn't, like, you know, and so I feel like it's used too often in that context, and that's why it's a real red flag for me. I think it's one thing to describe a certain thing that happened, like, oh, say my ex did this one thing, which was just really wild, but to label the person as crazy is something that really bugs me.
That's fair. I feel like you need to meet a pretty high threshold to be labeled as a person.
Yeah. And I mean, like, are they out there? Definitely. I've seen some insane Reddit threads.
But it bothers me just because of the stigmatization of mental health issues.
This is very true.
That sort of thing as well. So I just have a lot of issues with that particular word. It's one thing to use it like, oh, that was a crazy night, but to label.
And also, I refer to myself as crazy, but like, that's just me.
Okay.
Yeah, like that's me making fun of my own issues.
Yeah, different to use it for yourself, but
this is very true. So, yeah, I'm gonna say red flag there.
Yeah, I automatically interpret that as, oh, she was emotional, and so you just decided she's crazy.
Yeah.
I assume that they're gonna somehow find a way to use that label for me in the future.
Yeah.
Rip. Next.
You know, I'm in my 30s, I've dated a lot.
Wait, what?
So in my 30s, I've dated a lot. I've like a lot of first and second dates that did not go very far, you know, because I've just met a lot of types. A lot of types.
Next, loves Bitcoin/crypto. I feel like this is another one that's like guilty until proven innocent. Especially because of the environmental implications.
I feel like the crypto fan base is the same as the Andrew Yang fan base, is the same as the Monster Energy fan base. Like, I think all of them are just...
That's a Venn diagram, that's a circle.
Yes.
The exact thing. I was starting to go like...
I love when we all converge mentally. It's beautiful.
This one really bothers me in that I have never met a person who was like into cryptocurrency who wasn't very smug about it.
Yeah, like if it's... I have never seen a person like this, but I'm sure there have to be people out there that are just like, you know, maybe they're like some sort of like stats or like economic just like nerd in that sense. Like it's just a thing that interests them, so they're just interested in the idea of cryptocurrency, and like that's cool, but I have never seen a person like that.
So yeah, I just have very big negative connotations because the president of El Salvador, President Bukele, is like the first president or the first world leader to like put like their whole country on Bitcoin, which is
on
like
Bitcoin of all things.
Like that's gonna be now the currency, which is so unstable. Like that's so terrible. And so whenever I hear that, like that's who I associate it with. And like that's a very big red flag. Like I will say it on the podcast, I do not like the president of El Salvador. And I do not like that he is going to potentially tank the entire economy for some X million number of people who did nothing to deserve it.
Why Bitcoin? Specifically, just because like one Bitcoin is worth like how much actual real world money? If you're going to switch to a, like say you you have to choose a cryptocurrency to switch to, why not just have one where it's like one of whatever cryptocurrency is one of whatever currency you're using already? Why would it have to be Bitcoin? Because then your prices are going to have to be like 0.00 something % of a Bitcoin.
Okay, this headline from CNBC from October 1st is El Salvador just started mining Bitcoin using the energy from volcanoes. So sounds like the government is like now going to be paying their government expenses using Bitcoin. I don't know. They're doing something with Bitcoin.
I wish I understood. Actually, no, I'm fine not understanding.
Yeah, no. Although there was, I don't know if anyone ever listens to RadioLab.
I don't know if I ever continue.
But they had an episode a number of years ago where they let one of the hosts kind of follow along with these people who were creating a new cryptocurrency and going through the process of like everything they have to do, and it is wild.
Actually, really
one second, I gotta make a quick camera
adjustment here. I don't remember the name of the episode. It was probably like 6 or 7 years ago, but you know, they have to go through all this processes of like getting these like brand new laptops and going to an undisclosed location and like not being connected to Wi-Fi networks, and like it's insane. So that is interesting.
Right. If you're interested in it from like an economic point of view,
that's kind of cool.
Sure. You know, it's very fascinating. But if you are like super into it,
like pro cryptocurrency, almost is how I would describe it.
Oh, there was a guy when this first came out who was like arrested for selling like the tokens from Chuck E. Cheese as Bitcoin for like $1,000 each.
Okay, but I kind of respect it.
Well, and his money?
I mean, he got a bag, and I can't say that I don't respect him for getting a bag. Putting that out there.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah. Guilty until proven innocent, I think.
Yeah, I think
fair. Okay. Hates on Taylor Swift.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
I don't care.
I mean, like, I am not, like, particularly nuts about her music or anything, but if it's, like, a dude especially going out of his way to be like, yeah, Taylor Swift sucks, like...
Yeah, I was just thinking about it, like, doesn't like her, and I'm like, oh, I don't care if they don't like her, but if they go out of their way to just bring it up and just be like, we're in the middle of dinner, and then all of a sudden, so Taylor Swift is the worst. No.
If your name is Kanye and you, like, go up on a stage...
Yeah.
Like, that level of hating Taylor Swift, yeah, there's a problem.
And, like, a few notches below that, even, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to go to an award show. And,
yeah, no.
It's a little extreme.
Moving swiftly along is from New Jersey.
Wait, can we just circle back real quick?
Yes.
To the Taylor Swift thing. Did you guys see the Obama hot mic thing where they asked him about Kanye? And because like they asked him about what he thought when Kanye went up and like interrupted Taylor Swift, and he was just like, he's a jackass. And like, I don't know if he knew he was on like being recorded or not, but like
that's now like, out there.
It's out there. I was like, could not agree more. Anyways, two things together.
Is from New Jersey.
Oh.
Can I offer like a scalding hot take?
Yes.
Please.
Do you think that the highways in Northern Virginia are worse than the Jersey Turnpike?
I have no experience with the Jersey Turnpike, but the highways in Virginia do suck.
I think that the part of the Jersey Turnpike people hate is the part right outside of New York City, and I agree with that. They're terrible. The rest of it is just like a normal highway.
But also, I mean, like, driving anywhere just outside of New York City is kind of a pain in the ass.
It's terrible. You have to, like, get over 5 lanes and 900 feet, and there's, like...
Yeah, no, it's kind of terrifying. Although, I gotta say, people complain about driving in New York City, which, like, I agree with. Like, that seems terrifying. The one place that I have been that I would never want to drive in my entire life, Moscow. I think I would die if I had to drive even, like, a couple of blocks in Moscow.
Can't relate, but I'll take your word on that.
Just a thing I felt I needed to add. Anyway.
But if you're from New Jersey...
If you're from New Jersey...
It's awkward because my boss is from New Jersey, so, like...
I mean, like, I understand, like, I kind of get the joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I also like is that even like New Jersey is in on the joke,
Yeah.
and that makes it better and funny.
I also find it really funny
Like,
that like
oh,
almost there's a lot of states where it's a joke to like continuously dunk on states that objectively like aren't that bad. Like people are always roasting Ohio. And I mean like Ohio's not objectively awful. I just think it's kind of funny that people have decided, you know what? We're just going to dunk on Ohio.
did you guys see like the New Jersey flag that's like New Jersey, we hate you too?
That's awesome. It's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, if that's all I know.
Yeah, if all I know is that they're from New Jersey, I don't think that's an automatic red flag. I mean, it's a I think it's humorous that it's on this list of red flags,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's really a red flag. Next.
I have thoughts about this one.
You have thoughts? Has abs.
Okay. I'm just gonna kick this off here if that's okay.
Go for it.
I unless you are like an elite professional athlete, it is actually really unnatural and unhealthy to have like defined six-pack abs. I think that they're not natural. They're not normal. You have to work ridiculously hard to get them. The work at the work, the effort is there, but I think that you have to go out of your way
Oh, you have
to
to be
get.
like crazy dehydrated.
Yeah,
Like for like, like when, Hugh Jackman is
you
like
have to
Wolverine
do
and
so
like
much
every
to
single
your
one of his
body.
muscles looks like it's like carved out of stone. Like,
Yeah, you have to do so much to your body that's like not healthy.
yeah, no,
And
that's like not a healthy human thing.
whatever you want to say about that, you can say about that. But the process to get abs for like the vast majority of people is not a normal or healthy one.
Yeah, no. Like I get that. Actually, not to be thirsting for the lead singer of the Struts on Maine,
By all means.
but like when I was at the concert last night, there was like he came out and he had like this cool like pink like suit jacket and like matching pants and he wasn't wearing a shirt underneath, which like, nice. Um but he was like particularly attractive to me during that concert because he's like muscular and like you could see that he like is like in good shape and muscular, but he's not like scrawny or like looking like super like dehydrated and unhealthy. I'm like, yeah,
Like a lean muscle.
yeah, and but like in
But
like he looks human
there's a
essentially. Like
distinction.
when you get to the like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, like that doesn't look like a human person.
Yeah.
Like this guy, like when he's up on stage performing and like looking very attractive again in my opinion, but like it's a very like it's a realistic like human kind of like attractiveness or like muscular like be like a human kind of being like muscular.
I I think there's also a distinction between having muscles and having abs because muscles is just muscle and you build that on top of whatever you have. Abs is a lack of fat,
Yeah.
like like your body fat percentages are have to be unhealthy low.
Yeah, no, like the guy I'm talking about, he was like he's like a
Right.
slim dude, but he's like it's like toned as opposed to like ripped.
Sure. No,
And
absolutely.
like
And
frankly, I find Luke Spiller way more attractive than I find, an Instagram underwear model where you can see like every single vein in his arm.
yeah.
So,
I never understood why people thought that kind of stuff is attractive. Like, as I believe I stated on this podcast before, I hate the gym. I hate it so
you have.
much. There's so many things about it I hate. But every time I'm there in like the weightlifting section, most of the time I'm like the only female or one of maybe like two or three.
Mm-hmm.
All these like just giant dudes with like no necks and arms that are like the same like circumference as their head somehow. And they're always just like looking in the mirror while they're lifting and flexing, and taking pictures of themselves, and I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, like, I respect it. Like, it took a shit ton of work to get there. Like, good on you, but...
Work in general, yeah, but I wonder who that's for.
Yeah.
There's also a distinction between, like, being proud of an accomplishment and really overdoing it. Like, every once in a while, if I had a really good run, as you know, PJ, every once in a while, you get a
I
picture
love your
of
DC run
friends.
snaps.
Yeah, every once in a while, I'm like, hey, this was a good run. Or, like, the view in DC is really pretty. But, like, that's
and I,
not...
like, sent you my, like, awkward flex in the mirror when I was like, look, it's better than when I flex and nothing happens.
Yeah, or like a snap about like a bike ride, and like those are fine and they're cool, and honestly they are affirming. But
yeah,
there's the other.
I'm getting actually heated because of the extent to which we're talking. I love this. The flannel has come off.
Because you're thinking about Luke Spiller's, I want to say abs, but not abs in that way.
Listen,
version.
He's just really attractive. Okay. Zach, but continue.
No, I think that was it. Just that distinction.
Yeah, but I think my point about like people that like who's it for, I think is the point here, because when they get abs like that, what's the point behind it, right? Like what's the motivation? If it's simply for like working at something really hard and accomplishing something, I can sort of get that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it might not be healthy and I might not agree with it as the best choice, but I can respect that.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I'm a person who... Not every decision I make for myself is healthy, so, like, you know, I can't really judge on that front.
I think a lot of the times the people that have abs like that are just, like, doing it because they think it looks good and they want people to, like, look at them a certain way, and then they're oftentimes a little bit full of themselves. Yeah, so it's not the abs themselves, it's... Yeah.
Yeah, it's if you want... Yeah, if I think that's fair.
But it's also like no for me, because then it's just gonna make me feel self-conscious.
Yeah.
I do not want abs like that. Yep. But the fact that I don't have them, it's just gonna bother me.
Yeah, no, I'm a very particularly self-conscious individual, so that would definitely, like, even if they are just like, this is something I want for me because it's a hard goal and achieving it makes me feel good about myself, I would just be like, but I'm squishy and I don't want you to see me.
We need to be equally squishy. That's how relationships
Even though I'm, like, in pretty decent shape and very average body weight for my height and age.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd still just be like, no, I'm too squishy now.
Yeah, no.
So. Yeah.
Your stomach is just... I might start talking to myself.
It's okay, I'm cracking all my bones real quick. Likes every Instagram model's pictures. Yes.
That's not good.
Red flag.
It's really not.
Like my pictures.
To me, that shows that they're a bit shallow.
The only way is like if you are liking every single thing that comes across your feed.
But also, like, who's doing that?
And also, how many models are you following?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is like even just likes every Instagram model's pictures, but follows lots of Instagram models.
Yeah.
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 I don't like that.
I'm honestly even trying to think, like, I think I might follow, like, a handful of, like, guys I think are attractive that aren't necessarily, like, this is an actor I like, this is a singer I really like, that I'm just like, ooh, this guy did some cool photo shoots, he's kind of hot. Like, maybe, like less than 5.
Right, no, yeah, like, I can count them on one hand.
Yeah. But yeah, no,
so that's not
like,
timeline.
If whatever person follows, like, a ton of, like, Instagram models and is always, and, like, likes every single one of the pictures, that's definitely kind of sketchy.
Can we make an exception for people who are fellow Instagram models? And that is the circle that they run in.
Yes, and also if you're, like, a photographer or in the fashion industry, makeup photographer, that I get, because, like, the, like, photo itself might be the thing that you're liking. like the like actual composition as opposed to like the subject of the photo. So there are some exceptions.
Yeah.
Are we comfortable? Do we think we're good?
Yeah.
Solid. Workaholic / likes to work hard.
I'm doing the quotes.
Yeah, no, yes. I cannot stand rise and grind Twitter.
Ugh.
It's the worst.
I think self-proclaimed workaholics are bad. If you have a genuinely like good work ethic where like that's where you find meaning, but if that's how you're describing yourself,
Making it like a personality trait.
Enjoy your life.
Yeah.
Take a bath. Go outside. Watch a movie.
Yeah, especially if the job that you're doing is a job that I don't want to say doesn't matter because that's not quite what I mean.
Yeah.
But it's one thing if you're like, you're working hard like that because you're like a doctor and helping people. If you're in politics and do policy changes, if you're a teacher, right? But if it's like, I work a lot of hours because I am on Wall Street and just want to make a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a workaholic or are you just greedy?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like why? I guess like part of the reason is important.
Yeah.
If it's like I like like the politics thing, it's like I'm championing a cause that really matters to me versus friggin' Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street.
Did you know that Henry Sobrowski's in the remake of that?
Like the Leonardo DiCaprio one?
Yeah.
There's a remake?
No, that version of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never watched it.
I have not either, but I do know that Henry Sobrowski is in that. I keep meaning to start watching Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell. Sidetrack.
Just to add a red flag, if Wolf of Wall Street is your favorite movie.
Yeah.
Or American Psycho. Because that one, puts me off a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Definitely. Has Snapchat streaks?
I don't care. Streaks are so
I mean,
like
you and I have a streak from time to time.
Yeah.
Is whatever.
Streaks with my other friends, like.
Obsessed with Quentin Tarantino movies.
Yeah, this one.
As a film expert
And here's the thing.
I would say yes.
I'm definitely going to say yes, and I'm saying this as a person who I do quite like some Tarantino films, and I am aware that, Quentin Tarantino, definitely some problems there, but, I like Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
It's a good movie, and I mean, Django Unchained, that's a good movie. Freaking Inglourious Basterds is an awesome movie, but...
I think the key word there is obsessed.
Yeah.
Because I also enjoy Quentin Tarantino. At first, when I saw that one, I was like, no, why would that bother me? Good movie. But obsessed.
Yeah.
That's a different thing.
Mm-hmm. Although I always wonder if, Actually, I have a giant poster for Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange on my wall. And it's one of my favorite movies. I'm like, is that a red flag, about myself?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. I really love that movie. And it's hard for me to articulate why, because it's one of those things where it's you're supposed to feel gross about liking the main character because it's presented to you in a way where, you're supposed to sympathize with this guy even though he's kind of nasty.
Yeah, but that's a lot of... I mean, that's House of Cards. House of Cards, you were rooting for the guy who's clearly the villain. I think that's just, and people who like House of Cards, that's not something that would make me want to hang out with them.
Yeah, I don't
know.
No,
I wouldn't consider that a red flag.
So, just potentially exposing myself here, potentially a self-call-out, but,
I just did a whole lecture a couple weeks ago on anti-heroes and the psychological processes and mechanisms that allow us to enjoy them.
I would actually love to hear that. Like no joke. If that's anywhere, I'll watch it.
It's just a class I'm
Yeah.
teaching an entertainment class this semester, and that's just one of the topics that we cover.
Nice.
So it's a perfectly normal thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. Obsessed with Quentin Tarantino movies. Yeah, I have questions. Moving.
So is that the guilty until proven innocent?
Yeah, guilty until proven innocent, I would say. Because, like, if you're, like, a film person and you, like, have some, like, have some real things to say.
Yeah.
That's one thing. But, like, there's a bro-y. There can be a bro-y thing to it, and, like, that's where I'm like, ooh, red flag.
Yeah.
Also, there's sirens going by. If it gets too loud, let me know and I'll mute my thing real quick until they pass.
Oh, I can't even hear it, so it should be fine. Only has one pillow. Absolute red flag. What are you snuggling with at night?
Yeah.
To me, this has companion red flags. Like, has no curtains in their home.
Bad.
Yeah.
I have known many guys like that, and it just, like, bothers me. It's like, so it's nighttime and everybody can just see you.
Yeah.
Like, there's something about the lack of attention to home decor and thoughtfulness for certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They all kind of fit together, but it's like, yeah, you got the one pillow. You don't anticipate anybody else being there and needing a pillow at any point. You're not thinking beyond, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, like, I generally only sleep with, like, 1 or 2 pillows on my bed, but, like, we have some decor here. There's some personality. They don't all have to be pillows you sleep on, but if I come into your room and there's just a single white pillow flat on the top of your bed, what are you doing, friend?
And then just, like, a sheet.
Yeah.
Or, like, duvet or comforter, or just, like, I
Yeah.
just got a sheet and one pillow.
Although, I stand beside no top sheet.
Yeah, you did. You knew where you were going.
It's so nice!
Top sheet till I die. Or flat sheet is technically. I don't know if people get this phrase of top sheet. It's called a flat sheet.
It's called a what?
It's a flat sheet. If you go and purchase them, that is what is on the package. They're called flat sheets.
Okay, well, first of all, I've never heard that in my life.
That is what they are actually called. I have no idea where the phrase top sheet came from.
I have never heard the phrase flat. I have never heard the phrase flat sheet until right now.
No, because the one that goes around the mattress is the fitted sheet, and so then the flat one is the one that doesn't have the elastic and stays flat.
That's
just the flat sheet and the fitted sheet are the two components of the sheet set. In addition to the pillowcases.
It's the top sheet.
I don't know where that came from.
It's better. It's correct. I don't care what's written on the package. It's like how the person who made GIFs said that it's supposed to be pronounced GIF. I don't care that the council has made a decision.
Yeah.
Seeing as it's a stupid ass decision, I've elected to ignore it.
Graphic is a hard G. It is GIF. I don't care.
Correct. Top sheet. Anyway.
That is objectively wrong, though.
Yeah, no. You need to have more than one pillow. I don't care if you only sleep with one pillow on the bed. But if there's just a single flat white pillow on top of your bed, no. No.
Especially because if you're in a situation to observe that means you're in their home.
Yeah. Which
probably means you're leading towards something that you would expect them to have that kind of consideration. I don't know.
Yeah, no. If I, like...
you know.
I don't know if I've said this on the podcast before or not. I have nothing against hookups or quote-unquote hookup culture. Just not for me. But if I were to be hooking up with someone and I went into their room and they had one pillow on their bed, I would leave.
I'm a head out.
Yeah. Bye.
Remember, I had somewhere to be. It's like 1 a.m. Yeah. I scheduled a thing. I forgot about it.
Gotta go fold the dishes. Yeah. Loves Tom Brady. Yes. Red flag.
to be honest, I don't know if you would call it a red flags and deal breakers aren't necessarily the same thing.
Correct.
Because there are some things that I don't necessarily think are bad traits. They're just not traits for me.
Yeah.
I do not like people who like football at all.
Valid.
I kind of detest football. I think it has something to do with the way I was raised and people just trying to shove it down my throat constantly like it was life. But I don't like it. And so if somebody's like, "Oh, I'm a big football fan," I'm like, "Nope, not for me."
Bye. Yeah, no, I don't care if someone enjoys football just because, my dad's a big football fan, but in a way where he was never like, everyone come watch the game.
Yeah.
Like, he would always, like, that was just his thing. You can come into the room if you want.
It's the one sport where I don't mind that the athletes are filthy rich because, like, football players really don't live like your body takes such a hit, you die.
Yeah, no, you really
like,
get beaten
all right,
up.
if you want to get paid to, like, not get your AARP card, then that's on you. But
yeah, but if they love Tom Brady specifically, yes, red flag. I do not like Tom Brady. I loved watching his Republican ass lose in whichever one was the last Super Bowl he played. That was great.
Oh yeah, he's a big Trump guy, right?
Yeah, no. So that was fun. And also, like, I swear to God they grew that man in a lab and they, like, only let him out to do football. Because every time there have been interviews with him, he just says something else weird. Like, I swear I've seen headlines about him having, like, never eaten a strawberry in his life, or, like, drinking some obscene amount of water that would, like, kill an average person in a day. Like, he's some sort of genetically engineered, like, football... I don't even know what. But they grew him in a lab for the sports, and then when he's done doing the sports ball, they put him back.
To his little hibernation chamber.
Yeah. So yeah, if they love Tom Brady, that is definitely a red flag.
Yeah, I didn't know he was a Trump guy.
Oh,
so that definitely puts me firmly in one camp.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we're down to the final two here. Thinks being tall is a personality trait.
I hate that so much.
Yeah, it is really annoying.
It's 100% not like, as a moderately tall person.
Although one time I did see this guy who was like 6'10" or something ridiculous. Like this was like back when I was on Tumblr. I'll try and find the post if I can.
This was like the business card.
Yeah, it was a guy who was like 6'10". He had a business card. He was like, I'm 6'10". Yes, seriously. No, I don't play basketball. Yes, the weather is nice up here. So like, if you are a person who is like that, where you constantly have people talking about it to you whether you want them to or not, and you like take preemptive steps to be like, yes, I know I'm tall. Yeah. That's one thing. But if you're like 6'3" and you're like, yeah, I'm so tall, like, whatever, man.
Yeah. Like, I don't take pride in being 6'1". That's what my genetics gave me, and that's what I have to work with.
Yeah.
And like,
but yeah, no, like, if you're 6'10", honestly, I think you've earned the right to say something about it. Yeah. Because, like, that's pretty nuts.
Yeah, I never understood people taking so much pride in things that really have nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
Congrats on being born! You know? Or things that aren't interesting or unique, or... Bridget, you and I have talked about this before, like, you could insert a lot of terms there, like, being a mother is not a personality.
Yes. It is not a replacement for a personality.
It's like, no, that's a role that you fulfill, and good on you for doing it, but, you can't just take a thing and just say, this is my personality now, when it's not. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not.
Yep.
Right? It's nothing unique. It's nothing that's specific to you.
Yeah.
You also got to have, like, other personality factors.
Correct. So yeah, thinks being tall is a personality trait. Yes, red flag.
Yep.
And finally, doesn't pay for your Uber to/from their place. I'm gonna say no.
I don't get that one.
But,
like, them to pay for your transportation.
Yeah. Unless there's a very reason why you're going over. Why?
Yeah, I mean, like,
sensation.
I mean, I personally have a car, so like this is kind of a moot point for me anyway. But also, like, I am, as a person who dates men, I am uncomfortable with the like societal expectation that like guys should pay for everything in like het relationships.
And I feel like that notion is definitely starting to change.
It's definitely starting to, and I mean, like, I think it's nice if I like, you know, meet a guy for coffee and he like, you know, buys my latte or whatever, like that's nice, but also like, you know, if we decide to meet up again, you know, I'll get the next one.
Yeah.
Like I think that's a much more fair way of going about it.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that.
So I would say no. I don't think that's a red flag.
The way I interpret this one is like, you know, assuming this heterosexual relationship that like the guy has like texted the girl for like a booty call.
Okay, yeah, if it's that, he's like, if
that's
he's like come over and hook up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would be the intent.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you, like, really want, like, you know, if someone doesn't have transportation and you really want them to come over so you can hook up, like, yeah. Put in the $10 for the Uber.
Yeah. I mean, that seems a little like prostitution.
Whatever.
Put out money to be, you know. But...
Yeah.
But you wouldn't really be getting anything. You would be getting a ride, but you wouldn't have any, like, money or a thing to show.
Yeah.
So... That's why it's prostitution adjacent.
But
prostitution
like,
asterisk.
Stuff, like, yeah. Do we have any we wanted to add?
Do we have? Ooh.
Because I have one or two, but I was curious to hear what you guys might have.
You know, I had some in mind until you just. That's not even a joke. That's so true. I had like a few in my mind this whole time.
We need to stop asking each other questions, which is like a huge problem for this format.
We all have a very specific form of magic.
Yep.
That we ask anybody a question.
Oh, I gotta say, we kind of touched on this in like the like the IPA thing. Any form of music gatekeeping, massive red flag.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to hear how you think like XYZ is real music and everything else sucks. I know, like, sometimes I just want to listen to like what is, you know, kind of widely considered like quote unquote like trashy pop music. Sometimes I just want to listen to that when I'm half a bottle of wine deep and dance around my kitchen. And it's fun and it makes me happy, and I don't care that it's not like super lyrically complex or whatever. Music gatekeeping, that is a massive red flag for me.
I agree with that. I think anybody who uses the phrase "nice guys finish last" unironically.
Correct. Yeah. That is a gross phrase. I hate it.
Yeah.
Wearing fedoras.
Every college campus has that one guy.
They have the fedora guy.
Yeah.
And it's a massive red flag every single time.
I've always just wanted to like just ask why. Like, what is it about this particular hat?
And it's not even an actual fedora. Like, it's not even like the actual like classy like Indiana Jones fedora. Yeah. It's like a trilby.
Yeah.
And I'm not here for it. Because we're slandering actual fedoras, which are like a classy like old Hollywood hat.
I feel like all of mine are pretty like basic, straightforward, like observing how they treat like servers and people like that, and like
very good way to gauge.
Yeah,
to get
to me that
vibe.
Yes, yeah, certainly. Or like talk about their family.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel like I do have a lot of like hyper specific ones. Or like things like things that are, I guess, more like less like an actual like some genuine like serious like do they check this box, more like meme-y things like that we've been talking about. Yeah. Again, just any form of elitism
Yeah.
Like, about, like, books. Like, I know there's a whole, like, especially if you're on, like, the kind of, like r/ like books on Reddit or whatever, there's a lot of hate for, like people are like, oh, ew, you read Stephen King, like, so basic. Like, I like it. I know it's not perfect. Leave me alone.
But, I mean, I think, as far as red flags, somebody who doesn't read at all.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you do not own books, we have a problem.
Yeah. Read whatever brings you joy, but for the love of God, read.
Yeah, read. Read books. Even if you don't read all that often, or, like, if you're an audio, or, like, if you have to be an audiobook person, because it's, like, you know, ADHD, dyslexia, anything like that, just, like, consume literature in some way, shape, or form, please.
Yep.
Oh. Doesn't own a TV.
Bad.
I got to a third date with a guy when I was in grad school. And I remember this moment so specifically, where he was like, I was mentioning some sort of TV show. He's like, oh, I don't even have a TV. I don't really watch TV. I'm like, excuse me?
And this was pre, like, advent of, like, YouTube. So they're just not watching anything, like, as, like, a major form of entertainment.
Yeah, this was probably, like, 2010.
Yeah. So, like...
I don't know how I feel about that one.
That one would weird me out just because I am very much a, like, film and TV person.
Well, keep in mind, this is pre-streaming services.
Yeah. So, like, one, what are you doing all night? And, like, again...
Unless you're reading. Unless you're reading.
But yeah, like, just because I am, like, such a film and TV person, if someone's like, oh yeah, like, I don't, like, really care about, like, either of those things, like, I'm like, well, you're probably not going to want to listen to me talk about and be enthusiastic about these things for the rest of our lives, so...
Yeah. Like, somebody who's not going to binge watch with you and discuss with you?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big no thank you for me.
Yeah, I felt kind of bad about it. He invited me to his, like, birthday gathering, like, the next week, and I was like, hey.
Ooh, one for me.
Nice.
Someone who hates traveling. Like, who never wants to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is a call-out of my ex-boyfriend. He was like, yeah, I could take it or leave it. Like, I'll just stay in one place. I was like, what do you mean you don't want to see as many places as you can physically get to before you die?
I think that's also a personal red flag versus, like, a character thing. Because, like, there are homebodies, and there's nothing wrong with being a homebody. But for me, I want to see places.
Yeah, no, so, like, that's just, like, that's a person. Yeah, you're right. That is definitely a personal red flag. Like, I want to go everywhere. And if you're just going to be like, I could take it or leave it, like, I guess I'll go with you. Like, no.
Yeah.
Have fun with me, damn it.
I think that might fit into a broader category of people who aren't willing to try new things.
Yes, absolutely.
That is a good one.
Because, like, you know, some weird food item that neither of you has ever had, I want them to try it and experience it with me, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, or just say they hate something they've never had in their lives. It's like, well, you've never experienced it.
Lame.
At least try, man. Yeah, that drives me crazy.
I would agree. I think we have... I like that. One, I like that our first question became an entire episode.
Yeah.
Just stretching out that content makes my life easier. I can just copy and paste all the things that we were supposed to talk about to next week. Wonderful. But yeah, I think we have... One, I like all our opinions on the list, which again will be... I'll have the link to that down in the description in all the formats that this is released in. And I like our additions.
Yeah.
I think that has created an even more well-rounded list.
Yeah. We were in pretty good agreement on most of these.
I
like it. It's good to see that, like... It's good to see the vibes come together.
Yeah.
To watch the Venn diagram of the three of us become a circle.
That's counter to the whole point of the podcast.
We can have some agreement every now and again as a treat.
I knew you were gonna.
And there's the episode title, baby. We really do. Maybe we do spend too much time together.
That's like 3 or 4 times during this podcast that I've said I knew you were gonna say that or do that, or I was about to say or do the same thing.
Oops. All right. Well, on that note, anything else you know I'm gonna say?
I keep forgetting. This is a primarily audio medium.
Do your little Professor X like mind reading stance.
I'm not gonna do much for the audio only folk.
I do frequently forget that this is also technically primarily an audio format, just because I can see the video recording going on as we're doing it.
I also forget that it's a podcast in general. I think we're just chatting about stuff. I'm like, oh yeah.
That's the vibe I want, though.
Hanging out.
Please forget that it's a podcast while we're recording it, and then after, remember, so that we can do, like, you know, we can coordinate on, like, promoting it and things.
Yeah, like 95% of the time I forget that it's a podcast. And then when I say the word podcast, I feel like I'm breaking the fourth wall.
That, like, Shakespearean, like...
Yeah.
Monologue to... Yeah.
Pay no attention to the current.
To that man behind the... No, I think we did very good today. Solid hour and a half. Good job, everyone.
Yeah.
We will be back again next week. I'm wondering if Yeah, I'll say words. The next episode, by the time you're getting this, the next episode's going to be our Halloween episode, which I'm really excited about, because we're going to be doing some fun, spooky Halloween-themed questions, and also probably even more fun Halloween stuff. What? You'll just have to come back and check it out. Yay. I love Halloween. Very excited. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
This week's episode of the Fighting with Friends podcast was hosted by Bridget Kelly, Zach Calderon, and Dr. Sarah Brooks. You can find other episodes of the podcast on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, or your other favorite listening platform. Follow us on Twitter at BridgetKelly98, at Zach Calderon, and at @AndSarahSaid. Rate and review us on your podcatcher of choice. Like, comment, and subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitch, and join our Discord community using the links in the description. You can also help support us via the Acast supporter feature, or consider donating to our Patreon. Thanks for listening!